Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, how I love that intro song. I really do. Puts me in a good mood every time I hear it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rich Life with Sam and Diane. I am, as many of you already know, Samantha Hoffman, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Diane Bucci. Hello, Diane.
Hello, and I've got my wine, so I beat you today. You know, usually I'm
there was a delay.
behind.
Were you pouring more wine?
I was, as a matter of fact, yeah.
Oh, we'll wait for you. Go ahead.
No, it's good. I'm good now. I got half a glass. That should last me through the show.
Yeah, people are going to think we're boozers, and that, we're not. But boy, I tell you, I do love my glass of wine. When I get to enjoy it in, when everything is just right. I'm not much for drinking in the middle of a hubbub or, when things are bustling and happening. But at the end of the day, or especially when the sun is going down, I love it. What are you drinking? What kind?
It's red wine actually, and I don't have now. I just walked outside, so I don't have a bottle in front of me.
Oh, you don't?
But it's organic.
I don't know what mine is
it's
either.
It's organic, some kind of organic red wine. I'm not quite sure, but it tastes good. I can tell you that. It's a full-bodied wine. Yes, it's a full-bodied. I don't know why do they give the wines the body names? What's a half-bodied? Really, is there a half-bodied wine?
Well, I think, you get that full body means it's just so full of all the little nuances. But it's so funny. I was at a restaurant with a friend a week or so ago, and the waitress was listing off the wine and describing them because it wasn't on their menu, the descriptions, and I had no clue. And she was describing a white. I'm not a fan of white wine. And but it was earlier in the day, and I had a big night planned, so I thought I'm just going to have a white now, and I'm trying to, plan out my wine drinking evening. And so she's saying it so quick, and I'm getting older. Apparently, this is a sign of age. I need people to slow down. They're talking to me because she was going, rapid fire and describing it, using all of these words, and then she said creamy oaky, and I thought I didn't know. I said, what is that? And she said, what?
What is
Pardon
that?
Me? And I'm like, and then right then I realized, well, she just merged the two words, creamy and oaky, into creamy oaky. I actually thought it was
funny.
one word.
Creamy oaky. I wouldn't say oaky ever because I'm an oaky from Muskogee, so I would say oak. It has oak, nuances of the oak barrel or whatever. I wouldn't say oaky. Yeah. That sounds kind of funny to me because I think of it as a person. I think
she was giving it the Y endings, these descriptors, and it was creamy and it's oaky and it's these things. But when she said it so blazing fast, creamy oaky, and the way I heard it, as you know, I don't always hear things wonderfully anyway. I just thought this is a new word. I need to know.
It's a new wine term, creamy oaky.
It's a new wine term.
She's memorized her little spiel, and she probably doesn't even realize what she's saying anymore. She just slurs it all together. She had to memorize the wine list and the descriptions, I'm sure.
And they always tell you this one is wonderful and this one's fabulous. And I think, when are you drinking it? I mean, when do you really get the chance? Because when you're here at the establishment, I'm envisioning you working. I can't imagine on your off hours. So are you drinking after? I can't see that either.
Maybe they are drinking on there. Maybe.
This is the conversation I want to have with them, but I don't think they appreciate it during their work day.
I don't think they do. They
inquisitiveness.
Probably are. I think so. They probably are drinking on the job, but they don't want to tell you that. They're never going to tell you that if they are. Sneaking a little in the back room. I would if I had to put up with some of the rude customers that I know are out there that I've had to put up with. Right.
I mean, because people can be just atrocious. They really can. I don't know if I would be well suited for that. I don't know if I could fake it that well. And you have to. And I'm pretty gracious to people because I really do mean it. When I'm out, I feel so fortunate to be out. It's such a treat each and every time. And it doesn't matter where I go. I tend to look at it as this great, I'm out. And so this is good, and I'm pretty nice to everybody I come in contact with. That is not how other people behave. I mean, they're atrocious.
They don't at all.
and you hear them,
they're terrible.
at the table next to you, and you're just like, oh, I just can't hardly, believe that someone could behave so poorly. But, people are doing that. It seems more and more. Or is that my imagination as well? Is that another thing?
No,
age? Okay. Children are misbehaving more and more.
I agree. I think manners have gone downhill, totally downhill, because people talk to people who are in the service industry as if they're just, dirt. I mean, they're not even a human being. It's like they don't even have a human being in front of them when they're talking to them. And it's a disgrace, human beings, you should treat everybody like a human being. Right. Mm-hmm. Look at like the airline ticket counters. Look at these people. They're absolutely beside themselves because the flight got delayed. It's not anything that the ticket agent did to personally make that flight get delayed, but people are just nasty as can be. That's, I think, probably one of the worst jobs for being in the service industry would be the airline ticket agents. But retail, obviously, I've got years of experience with that, and waiting tables. I mean, how many people haven't waited tables? I think everybody should have to wait tables or work at a retail job at least once in their life, and they would have a new respect, for other people who are in those jobs, because they are just horribly nasty and rude, and they're talking to this person as if they're not a human being, like they have no feelings. So I think we've definitely gotten worse. I really do.
There's no common sense behind that. Now, as you know, I'm a slight germaphobe. Never in a million years am I going to insult the person who's bringing me something I will be consuming. It's just not going to happen.
Oh, no. They will spit in it, and I don't blame them, I always, it's just like, don't be rude to the waitress. They're going to spit in all our food.
I know, and I'm convinced of it. And everybody's heard the horror stories. And I was out with a group of friends, and we were at this little bar kind of patio thing, and it wasn't made for wine. You're at a place that, what kind of place you're at when you ask to see the wine menu. They don't have it. Your choice is 2 reds, Merlot, Cabernet, or 2 whites. I mean, that's it. You don't have, there's no names, there's no anything, and you just kind of have to, it doesn't matter at that point. And, I think they had just finished washing the wine glasses, so the wine glass was really warm. They poured the wine in.
Oh.
And so I'm sitting there, and everybody's talking, and I'm thinking, and I just commented to, who I was with, I said, feel this wine glass. And it was so warm that it made the wine really warm, and, that's not good. But I was going to drink it, and I had no problem drinking it. And my friend was being chivalrous, and he's like, he motioned for the waitress, and he's like, this is really warm, and she's like, well, it's warm out, and he's like, no, I think, and she took it, and I'm like, oh, you just doomed me, because now I won't be able to, she's going to bring back something, but my mind will not let go of the fear that she will do something to it, because we seem snobbish, and I was, that's the terrible end of it. And we're really getting off onto some crazy topics. People are probably thinking, why do we listen to these two? Why do we even
I don't know. It's a different subject. I told you, just prior to the show that I would like to talk about my broken casserole dish. I broke my favorite casserole dish this morning. I've had this thing for, 32 years. And and it's just a Pyrex. It's just a Pyrex dish, okay? It's a brown Pyrex dish. It's the smaller kind of rectangle. But it's been through years of meals with me, cooking for people I love. And I mean, there's been a lot of memories revolving around that casserole dish, and I could not believe I broke it. I felt like I killed my best friend. I wanted to cry when I dropped that casserole dish. It was a terrible morning. I was in mourning for this casserole dish. And honest to God, I set it on my counter. I wouldn't throw it in the wastebasket yet. And I was talking to it, and I was going, "You've been so good to me."
We really are
and
crazy.
I felt like I needed to give it a proper burial. It was terrible. It was very tragic for me. But I had a similar experience years ago. I remember in my mom's kitchen when I was a teenager. I'm sure I was going too fast, and I went to grab some dish out from underneath the lower cabinet. and a little one was on top of it, and it fell out and, fell on the floor, and the floor was the wood floor, and it broke. And I was crushed over that one because it was like my favorite little casserole dish, and with all these memories of what my mom would cook in it. Like my favorite dish just came out of that casserole dish for years, and so it's like part of the family. So it was
funny.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I remember that still, and it's terrible how you get attached to something.
You get attached. And I think that's something that so many people can relate to. I don't have that with anything in the kitchen, of course, for obvious reasons.
You're not,
I'm just, like you, I'm just not that way. With the cooking, it's never been a big part of my life.
Right.
But, I have it in different aspects, different things, but, not that many. I'm trying to think real quick, but I'm sure I have something. I must have something that matters.
You got your dad's Harley, you're like I started to say, a lot of men feel attached to like a car or a boat motor or something that's really served them well. An old fishing pole. They name their stuff women's names. That's old Betsy or that's Susie or whatever. They name those things that are really dependable for them.
Because
I'm not a namer.
I'm a namer, and I have my Harley, like you mentioned, and it has a name, and it does remind me of my father. So that is true, and that would be hard to sell. Although I'm wondering if I should, because I'm now in a downtown and I'm never there, and I'm toying around with the idea. But it has a name. My Jeep has a name.
Oh, you named your car too. Now, what are their names? I'd love to know. If you would
my Harley's Kitty. I call it Kitty because it is such it's a real powerhouse of a bike, and it's so fast and it has such a roar to it that I thought, I don't know why I went with the opposite name of Kitty. I don't know. To me, it's humorous, and so whenever people have their names for these bikes, and it's just the craziest thing. And then mine's Kitty, and then of course the Jeep is Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that would make sense.
Yeah, you're so square when you name things, and
no,
but I'm a namer. It's the funniest thing. Yeah, and I give inanimate objects voices, and it's crazy. I had coffee with a neighbor today. We were watching these dogs and the owners, and they were sitting there, and the lady was prattling on. And this one big dog was just kind of looking at her and then looking off. And before I even had a moment to censor myself, I was giving the dog a voice. I was talking. The poor neighbor probably thinks, is this woman actually doing what I think she's doing? Is she giving a voice to this dog? Although I thought it was a spot-on voice, but I don't know what he thought.
Would you share that with us?
Well, no, I won't do my dog voice.
You do your dog voice.
It's bad enough that I sang on that one episode, and that's something that I don't sing well, so I can just have fun and sing because
that's how I do. Exactly. I don't care if nobody else likes it. I'm having fun. I could be tone deaf, and I don't know it.
I've noticed, and I live by a school now, and I was sitting outside the other day in the sun, and this father, I think it was the father's walking to the parking lot with the little girl, and she is just singing this song. And of course it's not on key, but she is just singing. And I thought, when you're young like that, you don't care. And you just sing.
Right.
And we all should.
Right.
It doesn't matter our age.
Kids are not self-conscious.
Right. You get older, you get more self-conscious. You judge people, so they're judging you, and you become, you crawl inside, but you lose so much of the joy of life. And this little girl just walked to the car, and she was just singing away, and it was cute.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think, it's a shame that we can't
I know, in
all
fact,
of us do that.
Yes. My friend Craig Zablocki, and we'll have to have him on the show one time. He's a great motivational speaker, but that's one thing that he asks people, and when he's doing like a team building and stuff conferences, he's like, raise your hand if you can paint me a picture, and like 3 people raise their hands out of 200 adults. And he's like, okay, if I walk into your kid's kindergarten class and they say, and I ask the same question, how many can paint me a picture? How many hands do you think are raised? Every single one of them. It's the same thing. They can paint. It doesn't have to be great, but they can all paint and just all kids can sing. Everybody can sing. It's just we get all self-conscious and we don't want to sing in front of other people.
Yeah, we begin to judge ourselves.
True.
So I'm not good. I can't do that anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't do that anymore. But when we're young, and for some of us that stops really early, but hopefully most everybody, they have at least a few years of just living free, of living thinking, no, I can build that castle. I can build this, or this object, or I can draw a picture. It doesn't matter. They don't think. But ask an adult, and their hand seizes up. They think, what?
Right.
As if this is going to be a marker of my intelligence, my capability, my something, and it'll be used against me. I'll be looked down upon if it's not, this wonderful Rembrandt reproduction. And it's a sad state when you really think about it. And but we do it. Many of us fall into that. So hence I won't do the dog voice, though, because I don't want our many listeners to know. I can't do the dog voice because the dog isn't in front of us, see? It would just sound ridiculous.
Right. It would sound stupid unless we were all looking at the dog. But I think we're both kind of brave in that respect because we write. Everybody says, I want to write a book, but they never do.
Mm-hmm.
They won't really sit down. They think they've got the great American novel inside of them, but they won't ever put pen to paper or finger to typewriter or whatever it is, because they're afraid of being judged. How many people haven't written something and they've had this manuscript that they've carried around for years, but they won't let anybody else read it. They won't submit it to a publisher. They won't do anything with it because they're afraid somebody else is going to knock them down. And so it's kind of it's one of those things where you have to get a thicker skin, our profession. You have to have a thicker skin.
Your resolve, your inner resolve and belief in yourself has to be profound. And that's there's not combined at all with being conceited. In fact, I know most writers are very humble, people, but very tender people, but you have to believe in yourself. And it really doesn't matter what you do. Wouldn't that be great if everybody, without being conceited, separate from that, just simply believed in themselves? And there would be so much less judgment. There would be just so much less ridicule. There'd be, it would be a wacky world, in a good way. I wish that we could see that in our lifetime. I don't think we will. That sounds depressing, but I just don't think we will because people are getting... It's getting more exaggerated. Life is getting more to the extremes and exaggerated, and there's a faction, of course, that's trying to grapple with awareness and balance and things like that. But there's an enormous amount. They're spiraling out of control, and it's a sad state.
But I think
drink some wine.
I think that's why we're here, though.
That's why we're here. We're trying to tell everybody, dig deep, people.
We're trying to learn
if we can believe
how
in
to
ourselves, you can believe in you. Mm-hmm. Yes. Here we are. We're two middle-aged women who've had to start over. We have risen more times than, the phoenix. And it's and we've seen adversity and some similar on certain levels and some not, but poignantly painful nonetheless. And throughout it all, I don't think I've doubted myself many times, but I come back. There are times when I fall to my knees and I cry and I just think I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not made, this is too lofty of a task, what I want to do as far as helping people. And then something will happen. I received in the mail just this other day, just like 2 days ago, and I'll read it to you. I didn't even think I'd do this, but it's right here.
Yeah,
and I received this note. And it's things like this then that bolster me. And so hopefully our show can do that for a few people. This is what I read, or I received. It said, if it wasn't for you, I would have given up on this thing a long time ago. You were my confirmation from God that there is some purpose in this, and not just for me. There's someone out there I am supposed to be touching, inspiring, motivating, indirectly. If no one has told you lately, I will. You're amazing.
Wow. And did they sign their name?
They
was
did.
It a handsome man?
No. No. It's a wonderful, confident. She's a beautiful woman, and she's tender, but thick walls, and stronger than she even knows. But when I receive that, it's like you get those things every once in a while, and they remind you, okay, I can do this. And then, you write something or you do something to help somebody, and it's like if we all could just kind of do that. Just kind of center ourselves, believe in ourselves, and believe in our dreams and our ability to reach it. And, yeah, wouldn't that be nice if our show at least reminded people of their beauty and of their strength? Let's hope so.
That would be all worth it. Yeah. But
if we're out here being wacky and honest and crazy, you can too.
That's right. And like yourself for it,
Yeah. I'm jacked up on my I had some, let's see, before the show started, I really quick, I downed some it's called Good Belly Probiotic Mango Juice.
Ooh, probiotic.
And now I've got wine
now you're
going.
on to that stuff.
Well, I have been, and so for a while, but I'm right next door to the health food store, so it's, we're getting pretty damn healthy over here. I did have a thought, though, and I was watching something, television earlier, and I need to ask, am I the only person that thinks the eHarmony guy is a little creepy? Do you know that guy?
Oh, he's definitely creepy. Yes, I do. Is he still on the air? I don't know.
The episode was supposedly a speed dating thing, and this woman is being tortured by speed dating, and then all of a sudden he sits down. But he's so freaking creepy that I thought, how is that supposed to make people want to use your service?
I know. It's true. But I have to say, being a dating site aficionado that I am.
That's right. Have that.
I've gone on every single one. Tari Abbott and I did a book where we did a chapter on online dating, and I purposely then went on every dating sites that I would never go on, just to see if there was kind of a different personality to each site, and there really was. But the eHarmony problem is they only give you like a match or two a day. And so if you're not attracted to that person, you're just screwed, whereas like Match.com or one of those sites, it's like shopping for men, or women. I mean, you've got these, thousands of things you can go through and pick from. Right, you're catalog shopping, which is not good either. But yet it's frustrating if you're on a site like eHarmony and it's you're not satisfied with the matches they're sending you, and you can't get any others, because they have like this button you can click to say, send me more matches or search for more matches, and it'll like, the little wheel will spin for a few minutes, and it always shoots back, but there are no more matches available in your area, and it's like, oh, come on. I don't believe you, because tomorrow you're going to match me up with somebody who's been on here for 6 months, and why couldn't you have found this person yesterday? So it's that's what people don't like about that site, and
okay.
And I was one of them, So they all have their drawbacks, They all have, some of them you feel like you're in a meat market and you don't want that, and that one is one that it's not a meat market, but it's just there's not enough selection. If you're getting matched up with people who are just not attracted to you, you don't have. That's it for the day. It may be it for the next 5 days till the weird guy thinks he found you another match. But it's funny. Last year, I met a man off of one of the other dating sites, and I still had an eHarmony account, so I decided I'd go in and close it. And I went in to close it, and he had been matched up with me on eHarmony just recently. And I asked him then, I said, how long were you on eHarmony? He said, oh, my God, I've been on there for about 2 years. And so I said, okay, they just put us together. And yet, we matched ourselves up on this other dating website, So I thought, okay, obviously that's proof that, they have a lot of matches, but they just don't send them to you. They want to keep getting your money every month. And that's what they all do.
Right.
They just want your money every month.
String you along. Why not?
But thankfully, I'm off the dating sites now. This is happy news. Yeah,
you're still happy. You're just still all blissfully happy, and that's good. We want you to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
The listeners
and I, we
want.
Too.
Yeah, I like happy.
We want
happy
you to be
is
happy.
good.
Yeah, I know, and I think things are going better for you and your guy there, aren't they? They seem to be.
Yeah, we're doing good. We've been doing good consistently, but then there's like these ups and downs and little things that happen. But sometimes I'll joke, and it's like, if we can make it through all of this, well, it's smooth sailing. And so I don't know if we're at that point yet or not. I tend to be a very cautious person, so as does he. And so I think we both are, we're still guarded, but not anywhere near like we were. And I think he's happy, and I'm happy. And it's, this brings to mind something. And I thought about it the other day. There's pros and cons to everything. And so the way relationships and family life, marriage was set up ages ago, you meet someone young, you marry, you stay with them pretty much until you croak, that there's that method. That's kind of that was the norm at one point, and it definitely had drawbacks. There's things that weren't right about it, or healthy about it. But in today's world, it is so challenging, and we are pushing ourselves to evolve to handle it, hopefully in a healthful manner, but in many people it's not. When we meet somebody, many of us are at this age, you are having to take on the fact that they've got a past. When you married someone young and were with them, they didn't have an ex. They didn't have two exes. They didn't have their own children. There wasn't all of this. They didn't establish a life for themselves with this other person, and now you're the new person. There's all those dynamics were not there that are there now. And so we're having to be such bigger people in the respect of, if you do really care and you want this, you have to be able to handle it. You can't. It wasn't even a factor back then. It wasn't even on the table.
No, it was just the two. Right, it's just the two of you when you're young, and that's all you have to worry about. But that's enough to worry about when you're younger, because you've never had to try to be conscientious with another person's feelings all the time. You've always been just, your own person. You only had to worry about yourself. So it's that learning experience of trying to learn how to take care of somebody else's feelings. And part of being a responsible partner is us taking care of your partner's feelings. You can't just put yourself first all the time. So that's what you're learning when you're younger. But like when you're our age and you're starting to date again, absolutely, everybody's got their own baggage. Everybody's got their own lives that they've had for the last 50 years, they've got the families, the exes, the children, the stepchildren, whatever they have. And so you're trying to kind of, it's like a minefield sometimes, that you're tiptoeing around each other, and you're you don't want to do anything wrong. You don't want anybody to be upset, and then you have all these other feelings to worry about. You've got all the kids' feelings to worry about. You got exes, you've got in-laws, you've got people who really are affected by that relationship, and so it's not just you anymore. It's all of these other people. So you really do have to be an adult about it to make it work. You both do, and it's it's great when you find somebody who is an adult about it, who is going to look out for your kids' feelings just like you're looking out for theirs, and understands, when you have to be obligated to do something else, but that's definitely something we didn't have to worry about when we were younger, I you look at like who we date, now, the man I'm with is somebody I definitely would have been attracted to before. But it's kind of laughable when you look at like our situations. I would have been attracted to him when I was 18 years old, but would he have been attracted to me? Like.
Well, I don't know. We're such different people now. Would you have had the
totally different people,
the mindset and the compassion, the level of compassion and empathy that you have now? Would you have had it then? I don't know. Would I have had it? I know I wouldn't have. I can definitely speak for myself that, I was a pisser for quite a while. I definitely wasn't, I wouldn't say the nicest person. I think, I was just young, teenager, you're pretty self-absorbed. I was shy. I wasn't, banding about spitting on people. So I wasn't like that. I'm just meaning I wasn't necessarily, at the soup kitchen either. I was just a normal teenager who was, oh, look at what she's wearing, and not thinking about other people's feelings, where now it's such a different world for me that it's like a whole different person has emerged over the course of these decades that I've managed to get through. And so I actually wouldn't have wanted to meet the person I've met now. I wouldn't have wanted to have met him before. I'm pretty happy, and I think I need to be where I am right now to handle what's before me, and even then it's a challenge. So I'm pretty happy it happened now, but it is an odd thing that all of this life has transpired, We both have
Oh, yeah.
had these years where my grandparents, when they were together, they did those years together. They never had. Well, that happened when you were with her. That was that portion of your life. They just weren't ever challenged with those things, and now almost everyone is, because rare is the marriage that starts out young and lasts.
I know, it's sad.
Rare.
70%.
It's sad.
I think it's the last statistic I heard was 70% of marriages in divorce now, and that was encompassing first, second, third, fourth, fifth marriage. I mean, that was encompassing any marriage. And I know the more the second marriages have, I think, the worst divorce rate, actually. Because a lot of times I think people are rebounding from their first marriage. And you know how we human beings are. We'll go for the opposite. It's like, okay, I can't live with that person that was my first love, so I'm going to go for the opposite. And that doesn't work either. And you usually find that out right away, I haven't been married again. I think I was scared off of making that kind of commitment to anybody again. But because I see that happening. People rush out to find a new opponent. It's like I find a worthier opponent, and that's what it turns out to be.
Not a rush at this point. Enough time has elapsed that wouldn't be the case for you at all. That actually wouldn't be the case for me. But I have 2 marriages under my belt. Now, the one wasn't a rebound. It wasn't, shortly after. But and I can't say the person, he was different, but not. It just for the reasons, and I think I've discussed it on the show. I know I have discussed it on the show before. Why I married him and how that pretty much ended. But it's people make these many mistakes, and it's a whole new world. And I just think it's one that requires, for us to do it well, it requires so much out of us, so much maturity. And I don't think many people have it, quite honestly. I know I'm pushed. I'm pushed to the brink at times. Your raw human emotion can get pushed, and we all have it. We own it. Jealousy, does it come out every once in a while? Well, it does. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. It's there with some people, or maybe it's there with everybody. I don't know, but I'm not a psych major. I have no idea. But it's, I think it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal for people to have these base emotions, but you have to keep them in perspective, and you have to go beyond it. You have to harness it and control it, and I don't think many people do that, but now more than ever are they having to do, if they want success, they're going to have to, because you're dealing with triggers, things that will push you. And it's, I think anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm all wrong. What do you think?
No, I absolutely agree. And when you said triggers, It triggered a memory I have. It's like I realized I had kind of an epiphany last week. I had kind of I guess it was the week before last, actually. I had kind of a rough week emotionally. It was just my own stuff, I kind of came to some realizations about my stuff, things that trigger me. And it's even like a word. And it was for, and I'll just, be honest here, it was when my boyfriend was saying, his ex-wife deserved something. The word deserve just made me burn inside. And it's because men from my long ago past have used that word about other females, in my life, that they deserve something. And so, when you're young and you hear, oh, well, she deserves this, to my ears it was like hearing, well, you don't deserve this. And you're trying to be the good daughter or the good whatever, and you're young, and your perception is just different than what like my father meant, because I remember him saying, well, my sister deserves this, or she deserves that. And I hate that word. And I told him, I said, just don't use it. I agree that she deserves that. Just don't use that word. Because it's like the little kid in me is wanting to throw a temper tantrum then. It's like, oh, really? Why did I deserve that? Why do I always deserve, to be put on the back burner or whatever? And it's stuff, it was old garbage, it's old stuff of mine, like from childhood or from my first marriage. And I was very young when I got married. I was 19. And, in that situation was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law always was needing my husband for something, and because she was a widow. And so, he used that word all the time. Well, my mom's been, just so good, and she deserves this and she deserves that. As he was walking out the door and leaving me with our 2 little kids all the time, to spend his one, day off with his mother. And so, once again, it's not that I didn't think that she needed some help sometimes, but she could manipulate him pretty good. And, if she could have had him over there every second of the day, she would have. But he didn't see that manipulation. He just saw, my poor mom deserves this. And I heard that word from him. And so that word deserved, when it's used in connection with another woman, it's just like a hot spot for me. And it's ridiculous because it's just from really old stuff, really old baggage that I have. But that word is connected to it. And, I don't like that word.
It's a sign of your growth. It's such a sign of your growth that, and I think mine too, that we don't really, and I hope other people can do this as well, but is to look at these things and to not always act out, but to first think, is this a me issue or a them issue, and because I'll have triggers as well, and I have, and then over these many, these years, have had to get to the point where I step back and say, this is me. This is me. What they're doing is normal, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's hitting me a certain way because of things they may not even know about. And, and then maybe you get to the point you can tell them if you want or not, but it's for me to deal with. And I've had I've had a few of those, and I've talked about some on the show, but, and that's the maturity. That's the thing that we're, it would be wonderful if, not that we're perfect at it by any stretch of the imagination, but the fact that we're trying, and we keep trying. We fail, and then we keep trying.
And we recognize it. Well, if you keep, trying to figure out, and that's the thing, and I've learned that, when I get a knee-jerk reaction internally like that, when it's like, where is this coming from? I ask myself that. Where is this emotion coming from? It's not coming from this man right in front of me. It's coming from, where did I feel this before? When was the first time that I felt this? When did I feel this the strongest? And you usually realize it, oh my gosh, this is another person in my life that maybe hurt me really bad. And so that's what I'm reacting to. I'm reacting to old stuff. I'm not reacting to this person right in front of me.
Right. And the sad reality is, without that kind of thought, and it'd be great if men did it and women did it more, because men think women are just batshit crazy, and women think men are cold and callous. And for the most part, not. It's that they're not thinking about, they're not going beyond, they're not looking inward. A lot of men will close up, because maybe something happened, they close up, and then they seem cold, they seem distant, and the woman will look at it that way. And and then, but there's a reason. And he's acting out almost by not acting out sometimes, by going inward and getting very cold, which usually sends a woman spiraling, or the woman is reacting to a trigger and she starts to get flighty or do something, and it's unfortunate. And like I said, I just think the stress of living in today's world even is making that harder and harder for so many people. And then they're not teaching their children, they're not really raising their children to be healthy adults, and that's unfortunate. They're kind of using their children as a crutch, or they're using their children to comfort them or to build them up and make them feel better, and they're not thinking about them as how will they be later in life. And that's a big thought. And sometimes you have to do things that, mean you're not going to be feeling the best. You're not all of a sudden going to be getting what you want out of the moment, but you are giving them what they need. And people are having a hard time doing that, and they're having a hard time raising themselves. They're having a hard time raising their kids, and I fail at it, a lot. I do try to keep coming back to it and think, okay, I may have screwed up on Monday, but I'm going to go back at this on Tuesday, and I'm going to try again, and I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep trying, because I do want the rich life. We named it that because that's why not? Why not have a life that feels good? And you can't have a life that feels good when you're spiraling out of control, when you're acting out on triggers, when you're walking bruised, when you're having so many issues. But a lot of it is us. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And if we can just keep working on it, and that's what we keep trying to do, And, I'll end the show on a funny note. I have a question for you. Yeah. Why is it, Diane, out of all the things on your body, that if you hit anything on your body, why does it piss you off the most when you hit your head? Have you ever hit your head on something and it actually makes you like pissed?
Well, your brain's in there. You know, your brain's probably really pissed that it got hit. It's like, hey, I am the mastermind of this unit. What are you doing to me? So I control everything. I'm the control panel. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in bed. I'm pulling up my covers. You know, I'm in bed. I'm pulling up my covers, you know, and I'm doing it in a real jerky movement, and I accidentally punch my face. And you get so angry, and you're like, what? My son goes to jump in the Jeep.
Because it hurts, though.
And he hits his head on the top of the Jeep. And, you know, he immediately, the F word wants to come out. And he tries to censor himself. But it's like it angers you more than hitting your elbow or,
you're right.
You know, yeah, and I have no idea. Why? Why does that seem? That's a trigger for all of us.
Look at what is on your head besides your brain, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your taste. I mean, like all your senses are on your head. So that is why, you know, because I don't have like all the senses on the back of my calf. So if I hit the back of my calf, it hurts, but it's not like 5 different things are going owie, you know. But it's like all your senses, you know. Your sight, your sound, everything is all connected on your head.
Maybe.
So that is true, though.
It's yeah.
I think you have more nerves up there, and it hurts worse. I do.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of, you know, it's interesting. It's like, you know, why does that part? If I hit my head, I'm not just, you know, oh, that hurt. I'm pissed. It goes from, it's an immediate pissed. And I don't usually get pissed that quick. But when I hit my head, boom, I am.
You're mad. Although your baby toe always really hurts when you jam it against something. That's like a shocker always. Then you have to hop around and hold your foot for a while, and it's like
I didn't know you were there. I take you for granted. I have no clue you're even included in my body until I hit you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And then when you kind of bend it outward, it's like it adds to the whole freakiness of it, because then you're like, oh my God.
Yes, it does add to the freakiness.
My toe just moved in a direction it's not supposed to. Thank God it came back.
Yes, that's true.
It is.
God,
on that one.
Really stuck out to the side.
Good thing it didn't stay.
Yes.
They, you know, just kind of jutting out the side. Boy, that would be weird. Oh,
that would be hard to fit into a sandal, you know. It would be hanging over the edge. Yeah.
Oh, it would be good at gatherings, though. Hey, everybody, look at my toe, and you would freak everybody out. Oh boy! Well, you know, this
never came back.
Full-bodied conversation time. There's our full-bodied conversation to go with your full-bodied wine.
We came full circle to the full body.
Oh, well, I enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoyed it. You know, there's no rhyme or reason to this other than the fact that we just really want to have a good time and help others to have a good time, too. And I hope they did. I really do. So, you know, until next week, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and it's been delightful, as always.
Hey, thank you, Sam. Have a good week.
You too, Diane. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.